Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of My Favorite Builds. Today we're going to be going over a very odd favorite build of mine, and that is basically just, I call it the Valkazon. And basically what the Valkazon is it's sort of like a passive Zon. Because, well, she doesn't really put very many points in just about anything else. Let's go over her skill tree first, and then we'll talk about her abilities. So as you can see here, I really only have no points in the bow and crossbow skill tree, and I have no points in the javelin and spear skill tree. However, I do also have guided arrow, and I also have lightning strike and lightning fury. You might be wondering, how the hell do I have lightning fury when I don't have any points in the tree, and how the hell do I have guided arrow when I don't have any points in the tree? And the answer to that question is I'm utilizing the Mage Wrath Ward Bow for the free guided arrow, and I'm utilizing the Titan's Revenge. Sorry, not Titan's Revenge. The Thunder God's Vigor Warbelt for the free lightning fury there. So this is basically how I'm getting my free abilities, so that I don't actually have to spend any points in anything. Now, how do we have this character set up otherwise? Well, it's basically all passive skills. So I do have 9 base points into Inner Sight to get that negative enemy defense up just a little bit higher. It's basically just leftover points. 1 point in slow missiles, 20 base points in Decoy, which I know you can't see because my head's in the way. But, you know what, let me move myself over to the other side, shall I? And so it doesn't look weird. Boop. All right, so basically I have 20 points in the Decoy, and this is to enhance the life of the Valkyrie. This is very important. And also, you're going to be using Decoy a lot with this particular build. Also, 20 points into Valkyrie, because we want to max that out. We are putting 2 base points into Dodge, 2 base points into Avoid, and 1 base point into Evade. These are just extra points that we had laying around. We have 20 points into Critical Strike. We max that out because that affects the Valkyrie. We also have 20 points into Penetrate because that also affects the Valkyrie. And we have only 1 base point into Pierce. We really aren't using it, but we just might as well put 1 point into it. And basically how this build works is you're essentially summoning the highest level Valkyrie that you possibly can at any given time. And to do this, I do have some other pieces of equipment to help me out with this. Like, for instance, I have this +3 passive and magic amulet, and I also have extra passive and magic skillers, which I utilize for the purposes of summoning the highest level Valkyrie that I possibly can. And I seem to be missing a couple of them. I must have gotten rid of them at some point. That's unfortunate. Especially for the video, because now I can't show you the full power of my Valkyrie. Actually, they're probably around here somewhere. But passive and magic skillers are actually relatively easy to come by, and you're going to need as many of these as you can get, because the purpose of passive and magic skillers is to give you as many points into your passive and magic skills as possible. You want all of the passive and magic, you want all plus the skills that you can get, and Annie, you want your torch, you want the whole 9 yards, so that your Valkyrie can get to the highest level possible that you could possibly achieve, which at this particular moment right now, because I am missing my 2 extra doojanks, which I don't know why they're missing. +3, I got my +3 passive gloves on. I'm missing my, there's my amulet. So this is my actual amulet that I wear, and this is the amulet that I wear for summoning the Valkyrie. Now, how this works is you basically are just trying to summon the highest level Valkyrie that you possibly can at any given time, and we'll go over that in just a second, but let me cover my equipment real quick. So we are using Mage Wrath Wardbow for the free guided arrow. Really, that's the only reason we're using it, is because it gives us free guided arrow, and we don't want to spend any points into any other tree other than the passive tree. We are using Valkyrie Wing as our main helmet here, mainly for the +2 Amazon skills, as well as the faster run walk. It's not like a best in slot piece of equipment, but you could get better. I mean, a Shaco certainly wouldn't be a terrible choice either, if you wanted to throw that in there, for the magic find and the life and all that, as long as it has as many plus the skills as you can possibly get. A +3 passive and magic circlet would be ideal here, to give you 1 additional point in your Valkyrie. Every point in your Valkyrie is a big step toward having the most powerful Valkyrie that you can possibly have. A +3 passive and magic amulet on reserve, which you're going to swap out once you finish summoning your Valkyrie. So you're going to summon your Valkyrie, and then you're going to take this off and then put on your better piece of equipment. +3 passive and magic gloves, which again also are there only for summoning the Valkyrie. And then you're going to put on your actual real gloves once you summon your Valkyrie at the highest level that you can possibly get her at. Utilizing things like Soges as well would be a good idea here. And it looks like I was using Angelic combo. I have two Angelic rings on for some reason, which does not sound like me. I should be using a Raven Frost, yes. And I should be using most likely a Soge or a Volkathos, one or the other. Either a Soge or a Volkathos, I don't know which. That's Assassin. That's not Amazon. Let's just grab the Mars Kaleidoscope. It's just as good of a choice for right now. Do I not have... I got this little dual leecher here, but that's not really what I'm interested in for this particular character. What you really want is as many plus the skills as you can get, and I don't know if I have a Soge around. Got a Soge in my past shared stash? No, I don't. But the point of this is to get as many plus the skills as you can, and Angelic Halo is not it. So let's go ahead and take that off. We don't care about attack rating on this particular character. Let's put a little dual leecher on for right now. But what we really want there is plus the skills. So we want ideally a Soge or a Volkathos ring here for +1 to skills. Thunder God's War Vigor 4 belt for the plus Lightning Fury, which allows us to dish out some additional damage, as well as Silkweave Boots for the faster run walk and the mana after each kill, which helps us spam Lightning Fury easier. And then on top of that, on the other side, we've got Titan's Revenge, and we've got our Spirit. Now, when you summon the Valkyrie, you're always going to switch to your Titan Revenge and your Spirit. You're always going to have your amulet on, and you're always going to have your gloves on. If you're not utilizing the Soge or Volkathos as your regular ring, you're going to put that on as well. If you have a Arachnid's Mesh, you're going to put that on, and you're going to replace your Raven Frost temporarily for that as well. The entire point of this is to get your Valkyrie as high as you can at the point of summoning, which is right now. And then what you want to do is you want to switch to your classic graphics, and you want to summon your Valkyrie, and you want to look at what color equipment she's wearing. Right now, she has a black spear. The black spear is a very effective weapon. It is the cruel modifier, and you are definitely looking for the black spear. However, you also want the red or the blue armor, which are very effective for her. This is basically a way that you can tell what equipment she's wearing by the color of her equipment. Each different piece of equipment has a different effect, and so sitting in town and summoning her over and over again and looking for that black spear, that's the bare minimum that you want. That's your cruel spear, which is going to give her a lot of damage. You also can keep summoning her until you eventually get to the point where you get a perfect roll, which is going to be something along the lines of a nice blue armor or a red armor with a black spear. Right now she has a red armor and a white spear. The white spear is actually a fool's mod, which is actually a pretty good spear too. It's not as good damage, but she'll hit more often. There we go. So we've got... actually, that's orange, not red. So that's the black spear with orange armor. I believe that's attacker takes damage of. Basically, once you have her summoned, you can then take off your equipment. So you're going to put your real equipment back on, your real amulet back on, and so forth and so on, until you have everything set up. And now you are how you need to be. You're set up correctly. You're going to put inner sight over here. On this hand, you're going to have Lightning Fury, and on this hand, your bow side, you're going to have your guided arrow and your Lightning Fury, your inner sight. You're also going to cast your Decoy a lot, so you may want to have that active as well on a regular basis. Don't resummon your Valkyrie, though. If you resummon your Valkyrie, well, you're going to mess up what you just did. And now we also have our Mercenary, which seems to be completely gutted of equipment. She is a freezing arrow mercenary, and I'm pretty sure I had her set up with a faith bow for fanaticism to enhance the attack speed of the Valkyrie. That was pretty much the entire point, was just to increase the attack speed of the Valkyrie even further. And once you have her set up, once you have her like fully set up, she is a powerhouse that can pretty much take out most of the stuff in the game on her own. She's a little slow. She is. but she can pretty much just like 1 or 2 shot most of these monsters with relative ease, depending on like what's going on. Fanaticism obviously helps out a ton for damage as well, which is nice. She tanks pretty much everything without any problem. And then what you do as a player is you're going to basically help her by utilizing things like your Lightning Fury to go in and dish out a little bit of extra damage. And you're going to use your guided arrow on the single targets. As you can see, even with just base Lightning Fury and the abilities, I could still dish out some pretty decent damage. And she's obviously more than capable of dealing with the stuff herself. So I'm just going to help her out as much as I possibly can with the single target and the AoE. So I go into a pack like this. We cast our Decoy. It's a big pack. I'm using my Lightning Fury. And we're just going to go ahead and just Lightning Fury everything to death. And once we're down to some single targets, I switch over to my bow and I just start guiding, arrowing some stuff. It helps if you focus on the same target that the Valkyrie is focusing on. That way, when she hits the target, you're also hitting the target. And you can coordinate that damage output so that you're both dishing out damage together. She's particularly effective as a tank, obviously. She really doesn't have much trouble when it comes to tanking. Her damage output is not terrible at all, especially when you fight some higher monsters. You'll be surprised at how much she outputs. At her current level, which I have her at... I should be higher than this, but I'm missing some of my pieces of equipment. But at her current level, she's sitting at level 43 with 2,520% increased attack rating, 1,050% enhanced damage, 420% enhanced defense, and life of 5,896. She also has the basically 77% chance for double damage from critical strike, and the 450% increase of attack speed that comes from attack rating that comes from penetrate. With the addition of some additional damage modifiers like fanaticism, might from a mercenary, whatever you can squeeze out, to be perfectly honest, to enhance her damage even further. Maybe if you're a rich bastard, you could potentially be using a last wish so that you have might, and then have the faith bow on the mercenary so that you have fanaticism, and then your Valkyrie will have fanaticism and might at the same time. Which can also be particularly effective for her damage output. She's already hitting pretty hard, and with the addition of the additional speed and the additional damage output, she does pretty darn good. I mean, honestly, I really didn't have much trouble killing just about anything on this fun little build. It's not like the most ridiculous, overpowered meta build in the world, but when it came to, killing, say, an elite monster that's immune to lightning, even though I was using Lightning Fury, she doesn't really have much trouble with stuff. She's a little slow. Don't let that fool you though, because despite the fact that she's a little slow, she's still incredibly good at murdering, tanking, and dishing out damage to one target at a time. Not particularly fast, but one target at a time, and you won't have pretty much any trouble killing anything because her ability to tank the stuff is legendary. At this point in time, with this character and how high of a level she is, she's so high level and her damage output, her tankiness is so high, there's very few things in the game that will ever be able to approach killing her. She can pretty much tank the Ubers. All of the Ubers except for Uber Duriel because of the... what is it called? Holy Freeze. Because of Holy Freeze, she might have trouble tanking Uber Duriel, but if you literally just resummon her a couple times, I think it's 3 times total for you to kill Uber Duriel. And that's kind of what it comes down to, is she is a tank goddess, literally. She has the ability to kill most anything she comes across, albeit slowly. And you basically support her in every way possible. That's essentially how this build works, is you basically just support her in every way that you can. And you end up surprisingly tanky as a result, because you have very good dodge, avoid, and evade. You have very good critical strike, very good penetrate. You also have a pretty decent inner sight, and also a very, very, very effective decoy that has 400% of your life, including all of your dodge, avoid, and evades, which can literally just sit there and tank pretty much anything. Let's go to Worldstone Keep real quick, just as an example. Let me just cast my Decoy out here and just let my Decoy get wailed on. Of course, there's exploding monsters. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use your Decoy, because your Decoy is so good, as basically a casting test area. So anytime you get into a new zone, you're just going to cast your Decoy ahead. It provides light, and it also allows you to figure out what monsters are ahead. You don't have to actually scout out rooms yourself, because you have probably the most overpowered Decoy that's ever existed. I mean, mine is level 40 right now, and can probably tank most of the monsters in the game. Of course, this is a pretty terrible... let's see if we can find the next level, just so that we can really get a good idea of her tankiness. Oh, there we go. We got snakes. There you go. Beat her up. Beat her up, beat her up, way up. There, have an arm. And generally what you do is you take out the easy monsters with your very easy to use Lightning Fury, and let the Valkyrie pick on the stuff that's actually tough. Let's see. I don't want to accidentally recast my Valkyrie. There we go. There's some big boys. Let's switch to a little guided arrow for the demon imps and the death lords. Use a little bit of this for these guys down here. Come on, let's go, Valkyrie. It's your time to shine, not mine. The interesting side effects of making this character is that you end up with a character that is very, very difficult to kill. Passive Amazons are surprisingly tanky, surprisingly good at the game. On the side, I forgot to put my other amulets back on, but that's okay. They're surprisingly tanky, and you can even turn them into melee characters if you want to. So if you wanted to just go full melee with the character as well, you could like put a grief in your hand and run around just attacking everything. Nice to circle it. 2 shapeshifting. No, not very good. Anyway, I thought I would bring this fun little character to you guys' attention. It's definitely one of those characters that is certainly on the weirder side of things. But it's definitely a fun character to play. Once you actually play it, and once you actually get used to, you know, like having this tank god of a Valkyrie, this Valkyrie that can literally tank Ubers with ease, you will find that it's a lot more enjoyable. Hey, we got the perfect roll. That's the Cruel Spear and the red armor, which gives her the enhanced HP. Now she's tank. Now she's a tank god. So she's got like maximum damage output, and she also has very high HP at this point. As you can see, her take half the HP off a Death Mauler with 1 stab. Now, the real goal here is to support her in every way, and I can't really stress that enough, is that if you're not supporting her, well, then she's not going to dish out good damage. Enchant her with the Demon Limb. Put Fanaticism, like I said, on your Mercenary. Get yourself a Might Mercenary if you don't have the Faith Bow. Utilize everything you can to increase her damage output as much as possible. Maybe even in Bramble Armor could be very interesting here as well, to give her thorns, so that as she's fighting and as they're hitting her, you know, they're dishing out damage back to themselves, and they're taking more damage that way. There's a lot of different ways that you can potentially enhance the Valkyrie, and it really just comes down to you being the support character in this. And that's kind of the really fun thing about this, is you are the support character and the Valkyrie is the main character. You're beefing up the Valkyrie to the point where the Valkyrie is literally taking your place, and you are relegated to the role of a mercenary for the Valkyrie. And if you can set it up that way, believe it or not, she's actually kind of powerful. As always, I do appreciate you guys and gals joining me for these fun little adventures, even when we're just talking about the Valkazon. And as always, keep watching.